Down to the bottom left-hand corner of Cloud Kingdom, we have our red Terran player from Team SCB Live. It is Polt. And his opponent in the upper right-hand corner, our blue Protoss player, down 0-1 in this set, but still hailing from Team StarTale. It is Squirtle.
Yep. So Squirtle, the champion of Team StarTale. Not July, not Bomber, not Ace, not Curious, not Parting. It's Squirtle.
Yes. And StarTale, you know, a team that's really getting a quite cool roster of players that are playing a lot stronger recently as well. They had a kind of a downswing there while some of their former big-name players were starting to go down a little bit, but now making a big resurgence, and it's fun to watch them. I especially love watching Parting, so I know I'm pretty partial to him.
Yeah, well, StarTale's always been a strong-ish team. They actually did make it to the finals of the first GSTL, in case people forgot that. They played against IM in that. And so they've always been a stronger team, but what we've seen since then is kind of what you were talking about a little bit, where we saw the old guard kind of fade away a little bit, and then we saw those newer players like Curious and Parting kind of come up and take the reins as far as getting a lot of wins for their team. And Squirtle has just always kind of been solid, but until recently hasn't really found a lot of success in the GSL. But like we mentioned right before the game, he is back in, or he is in Code S now. I don't know if he actually was ever in Code S in the first place. I don't think he was.
Question. Correct us if we're wrong, Twitter. But
he's been in the GSL for a long time, but
he has been. But he was always that kind of guy who qualified from Code B, then won a couple of matches, stuck around for a couple of seasons, fell back down, had to requalify, that sort of thing, you know?
Well, he's one of the players, too, that you kind of always expected him to get up to Code S, and he just kept kind of losing in clutch situations. So.
He reminds me, I group him in as the same style of player that, okay, so obviously he was a Team League star and did really well in those sorts of situations, but you had other players that were doing that as well. MMA and Alicia immediately jumped to mind. MMA was someone who was able to carry through with 1v1 success, but Alicia really hasn't found a ton of success there. Yeah,
definitely true. As far as Squirtle's play, he actually reminds me quite a bit, well, I mean, of his teammate Ace, of course, too. They do play very similarly. Yeah, 2 barracks opening from Polt. All right. And he does love to do those 2 barracks openings against basically every race. Zerg and Terran involved in that as well. But yeah, Squirtle, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Killer, actually. Used to be on TSL. Killer is now on Complexity. And just the way that their play both kind of evolved from those very kind of strong, sometimes tricky 2 bases to just longer macro play. I think Squirtle went for the macro builds a little bit earlier than Killer did, but I've always thought they were a bit similar.
Well, if you guys want to see Killer as well as his teammate Hart, they are both going to be out at IPL 4 competing in the open bracket, so make sure if you guys haven't purchased your tickets, like we said, tickets.ign.com, and of course if you get a little chance, shoot our friends over at the Cosmopolitan a little bit of love for hosting an esports event. I was actually checking their Twitter during the break, and they're actually responding to the people who are giving them a shout out for hosting an esports event. So again, they are at Cosmopolitan_LV. Certainly give them a shout out, let them know how much you appreciate their support of esports.
Oh yeah. And the Nexus is out for Squirtle, looks like. It is going to be a 1-gate expand, as we did kind of take a look at earlier. And I'm waiting to see how aggressive Polt is going to be with this 2 racks opening. Usually with this type of thing, you push after your second Marauder. Sometimes people like to push after their first, but if you push after your second, sometimes you can hit a nice timing where Combat Shield is just about getting finished as you get there. You used to be able to do that with Stim, which was awesome, but then they then they nerfed Stim, and people had to kind of change up their openings a little bit. But yeah, we'll have to see how aggressive Polt wants to be with it. He may just kind of be out on the map too. He may not outright, attack his opponent here, but I think this is actually a pretty good map for doing something like this.
Well, we'll see here what these players do in response in a bit. It is, of course, 3-gate or 1-gate into 3-gate robo right afterwards.
Do you see what Polt is doing too? He moved out with a small group of Marines initially and made sure that the Xel'Naga towers were clear before moving out with his Marauders, as you can see there. Very smart little move from TSL.Polt, causing his opponent to maybe think it's like a gasless fast expand, and Polt is just poking a little bit. Looks like Squirtle, though, isn't going to be phased by it. He does already have 2 sentries out.
Yeah, he has 2 sentries out.
Be enough?
But, you know, he may be able to force field this off, but will he have enough to save his natural? That's a lot of forces already running in for Polt. Immediately, Squirtle reacting, pulling everything back to the farther away mineral patches, but this is going to be very, very difficult to break.
This is classic Polt, man. He loves to get in there and kill that Nexus early on. We saw him first do this against MC. Oh, waiting till the last second is Squirtle. Polt just pulling back, letting him use that energy. Oh, the force field does prevent the units from going down the ramp, but will he be able to micro against these Zealots? I don't know, man. It's a lot of damage coming out from that bio units, but it looks like it's just barely going to be enough.
Not enough for Guardian Shield there at the end, so the last couple of units are going to be able to break back against the Sentries, and once their energy goes away, it's going to be a lot more difficult for the Stalkers to get anything done. Now there's enough out, though, with Probe pulled offline. Looks like Polt is going to be moved back just for a moment. He's continuing with this pressure. Will he be able to get the Stalker? So they are both full health and very, very quick.
Yeah, I feel like Squirtle should just barely defend this. He will probably be able to keep his Nexus alive with that next warp in. So Squirtle kind of riding the razor's edge here, but able to kind of push back Polt. There are more units coming across the field, but anything that comes now isn't going to be quite as strong as that initial push was.
This worked out really well for Squirtle. He played extremely patient so that he knew he was going to be able to defend this. And, of course, he does throw the Chrono Boost down. Now, see, it actually benefits the shield regen rate in addition to increasing the probe. So, kind of a cool little addition there. But, yeah, I mean, he knew he was going to take some damage, but he minimized his worker losses, waited until he had another round of warp-ins. Very smart play out of him.
Yeah, for sure. Defended that very, very well. And the 2 racks opening isn't something that you commonly see in Korea. Polt is one of the few Terrans that actually does it. And that's kind of the reason why, is that right now Protoss players are just way too good at defending it. And you kind of have to get a little bit lucky and catch them unawares to really, you know, do the damage with it. He did almost catch Squirtle. You know, we saw he almost killed the Nexus, but I feel like this build is a little bit weak right now against Protoss.
And it looks like Squirtle has more than enough to defend this next push as well, even if Polt runs up around the left-hand side to kind of get around this little choke point. Yeah, that Marine, he immediately backs up because he was not going to find anything there.
Yeah, kind of expecting him to maybe take down those rocks as well, just to kind of give himself less room to be force-fielded, but nope, just going home. And that is the correct decision. The worst thing you can possibly do in this situation is to continue to try to push after your opponent has forced you back like that. All that really does is just get your army killed again and open you up to the possibility of a very strong counterattack. So Polt just kind of going to sit back in the macro a little bit at this point.
Yeah, he's moving up to the very familiar 5 racks with Starport off of 2 base that he's done for quite a while now. And his opponent, though, is going almost creator style. Double Forge, Robotics Bay, all off of 2 base for now. We'll see if he expands behind this, as he does have a probe sitting in position, but you know, he's going to have a very powerful army in a bit.
Yep, it's a great map for that type of thing. There's ramps going into your 3rd and your natural, so you can defend that, I would say, fairly easily. This factory does see the Immortal, though, and so Polt will know that Robotech is on the way. And I'm not talking about the cartoon. I'm talking about Colossi.
That's true, as this is a pretty good force for Polt rolling up now. Again, with this choke point, should be pretty easy for Squirtle to initially defend, but he's really going to have to rely on control here in a bit. And this probe just keeps moving around, but never does put down a base. Of course, now Squirtle sees this army making its way off to the left, so that probe will not put down a Nexus anytime soon.
Yep, that's right. Might be a decoy too. And is he going to get a medevac?
Wow.
Yes, he does manage to pick off a medevac. Nice little bonus there for Squirtle.
Yeah, very good win.
Part of me wonders a little bit if the probe was there specifically to get scouted and give Polt the wrong idea that Squirtle wanted to take that fast 3rd. Because as we saw, Squirtle was teching up. He was making lots of units. Not the type of thing that you really do if you're going to take a fast 3rd base. So that may have been a little bit of trickery on the side of Squirtle as well. Another possibility is that he just had it out there to watch for pushes coming from that side too.
And taking a look around, Twilight Council is coming up as well, so we'll be able to move. So Squirtle will be able to move into 2-2 very, very quickly, and should light this factory on fire actually here in just a bit. Polt, that's really not enough forces to be able to get any damage done. He does scan and take out the Observer, however.
Yep. Doesn't seem a lot of units to do it either.
No.
Yeah, so supply pretty even for both of these guys here. Obviously, the upgrades for Squirtle are a little bit better. Polt, though, catching up to a certain extent. He is making Vikings now, so if it does come to Colossus timing push from Squirtle, Polt might have enough to defend that.
And taking a look around now, that's a pretty good number of reinforcements coming in for Polt, but he doesn't have that many medevacs. In fact, the 3 we see there, that's it that's on the field.
Yeah, that is it. But, you know, better to have some half-healed bioforces than some dead bioforces due to Colossus.
Very true. Yes.
Yeah.
And we already do have Colossus #1 poking its way out in just a bit. Taking a look around, Polt is just kind of sharking around the map for now as...
Space sharking?
Yes.
There is a space shark on this map as well.
Is
At
this...
least, oh, maybe not
Is this a ladder version? Doesn't the ladder version have no space shark?
I know the GSL version does have a space shark.
Yes.
I saw it there last time I watched it.
Sad face.
But I don't know about the ladder version. I actually have this map downvoted, I must confess.
Ah, okay.
Not because of anything specific. I'm just not a big fan of playing on it.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That's acceptable. I'll allow it.
Yep. A couple maps like that.
Personal preferences.
Perfectly fine maps. I just don't like playing on them. Yeah.
Yep. There was another map. I was about to say Taldra Malta. Yeah. That's the other map you don't like playing.
Yep.
All right. Well, Polt's going to roll his way up now. He does see the Nexus being constructed. Stims, he's going for it.
Wow.
And takes a while for Squirtle to get in position, but he does. Now these medevacs are going to be taxed as they're going to have to heal up that entire bioforce.
Yeah. Not really the best angle for Polt to attack through. Having the Vikings over that pit, though, will be pretty good at handling that one Colossus. So, all in all, you know, it could go okay, but a little bit of a risk here.
Yeah.
And will Squirtle cut this army up?
Let's see. He has the potential to, but now the Vikings are on the high ground, and that's a pretty good spot for Polt to sit in. A few Stalkers warping in from the side. They do manage to almost pick off one Viking, and we do have another Colossus being added in now.
Yep, that's right. Supply lead right now for Polt, but Colossi can even that up very, very quickly here. 2-2, in fact, just finishing up now for Squirtle as well. So his forces are going to be a bit more powerful for a little while anyway.
Polt doing a nice job expanding behind this. In fact, despite the fact that Squirtle had started his much earlier. Oh, this could be pretty good for Squirtle, though. We'll see if he can pick off the Vikings first and allow the Colossi to do some damage. No, he's not really targeting them quite yet. One Colossus does go down, and it looks like all the Vikings are going to get cleaned out in the meantime, but most of the charge lots have fallen, and so did one of the Immortals.
That was actually really well engaged by Polt. We saw him pull the Zealots away from the rest of the army while they were distracted with the Vikings. Killed off the Zealots, then moved in to try to kill everything else. Squirtle knew he had to pull back there. But yeah, Polt really showing that he knows how to engage Protoss armies. Look at this. He might be going for a bit of a sandwich maneuver here.
Let's see. It looks like he may be able to pull that off. We'll see how good Squirtle's control is. He does trap a few units, picking off a couple more Vikings as well. More units making the way around the right-hand side. Polt's actually just going to try and run into the main.
Oh, this was a very bold move for Polt, and it might not work out. He wanted to trap Squirtle's army in the middle, and it turns out that he just basically got his army cut into 2 pieces.
Yeah.
He's not going to do a whole lot of damage with this. He might be able to focus down a building, but yeah, even that I think is a bit unlikely at this point.
Yeah, cleans up a little bit, and he's trying to run through the front here, but that Colossus is dealing quite a bit of damage at the back. But it finally does go down, but at the cost of basically this entire army.
Yeah, those Immortals in the back killing so many Marauders, almost as deadly as the Colossus is.
Yeah.
This little drop here, the remnants of the army that ran into base from the first place.
Polt's got some more units running up the front as well. Looks like he will be able to take out one Immortal very quickly. More units making the way over at the moment, as we do have a few Templar being brought in as well.
Yeah.
See if those immediately turn into Archons, and indeed they are.
Yep, it's going to save a couple of those. Maybe Research Storm here.
Yeah. Let's see.
The Archons are going to help out quite a bit as well.
Still
drop, finally getting cleaned up.
Still a 30 supply advantage now for Polt, what I meant to say. And let's see if he has another base ready to go. I don't think he does. It doesn't look like he has a 4th command center anytime soon. But then again, he's keeping Squirtle pinned inside of his 3 bases very effectively as well.
Yeah, now Squirtle, though, behind all this, is moving into that very late-game Protoss composition with whatever he wants, really. Colossi, High Templar, all his gateway forces are going to be very powerful. He does have a bunch of gateways finishing up as well, so his macro is just going to really shoot up here in just a moment. We're going to see those warp-ins kick in. He's going to probably do a pretty decent job catching up in supply with Polt, and then at that point, that's the time where you kind of move out on the map and try to do some damage when you have that little upgrade advantage and tech advantage. Yeah, now another cool thing that he's done is because of the threat of Colossi, just by the threat of them, he's actually limited medevac production basically this entire game. In fact, those are the only 2 medevacs on the map right now, and that's certainly not going to be sufficient to heal up this entire army when the time comes. Oh, Nope, he needs all the medevacs he can get.
Yes.
And the Vikings will be handy here, but the real problem is going to be the High Templar and the Archons at this point.
Yeah.
And does Polt have any Vikings out?
He does, but there's no Colossi. Our first one, or the only one that's going to be on the field is coming up soon. Oh, Ghost. Well, no, he has got a Ghost Academy coming up right now, but he does have another force moving through the left-hand side. I don't think there's enough energy for a Storm quite yet. No, there is not, and there's only a handful of charge lots. That's pulling the rest of the forces for Squirtle back. At the same time, Polt moving through the middle of the map with a little bit of positioning. Oh, no! What is he doing? He just lost that entire force. He right-clicked
it. Move command, yeah.
Oh, no, Polt.
Yeah, definitely a big misclick there from Polt, losing that army without really doing any damage in return, and Squirtle is just looking stronger by the minute here.
Yeah, he is.
All right, Ghost now on the way for Polt. That's what I was wondering about earlier. No, I instead shouted out, "Are there Vikings?" as soon as there were like 5 Vikings right on the screen in front of me. Well, yes, there are Vikings.
Well, I thought I was taking that alley-oop and slam dunking it, man, because I was pointing that out to you, so... All right.
You were. It was great, man. It was like Harlem Globetrotters.
Yes. I was a little bit of a Stockton the Malone action right there.
And I was the other one that just tosses the ball to the guy that has all
John
the talent.
Stockton. That was you.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Is that what he did?
Yes. I got Karl Malone. That's me.
Okay.
Yes.
I pick...
Only slightly worse at basketball.
I pick Shaq because he has a fighting game.
Oh my God, that's why you pick him.
He made Shaq food. That's why I want to be him as a basketball player.
Oh God, Michael Jordan wouldn't have been an acceptable answer there. A number of players would have been. Shaq, I cringe now. Uh-oh, big drop coming in for Polt off to the right-hand side. Photon Cannon does go down, but at the same time, Squirtle's just going to go ahead and move with his attack. He's just going to attack into the Planetary Fortress. It's being repaired up. Oh, good storms, preventing so many units from making their way off to the left-hand side. He takes out the Planetary Fortress, buys himself enough time that the Zealots can actually start running in afterwards. Polt's drop is running a little bit unchecked at the moment, but it looks like Squirtle may be able to just crush his opponent's army.
Yeah, well, he was lucky he had those storms there, actually. Oh, the Archons all losing shields. Those will die very, very quickly once the Zealots get cleaned up. But,
yes.
Looks like Squirtle just has too much. Here's the thing, though. Polt's killed the natural expansion. He's going to go after pylons in the main, stop the warp-ins. And it looks like there is still a decent amount of Zealots here for Squirtle, so he may be able to just finish the game right here.
Yeah, he's up by about 30 supply now, and of course Polt is doing almost no mining. Good storms! That's the rest of Polt's army. Yeah. Not much he can do about that. A couple of Archons morphing in now. Polt's drop is still doing a bit of damage, but there's the storm to take out basically everything left. There's the GG. Squirtle ties it up.